Here are 5 huge money mistakes I made in my 20s. I want to make sure you don't make them too. Number 1 is not investing. Now, I'm going to tell you, there are a million different things you can invest in. And in my 20s, I ain't invested in none of them. I mean, I played, even when I got into the stock market, I was trying to day trade. So I was like, buying stuff, selling stuff, buying stuff, selling stuff. But if I just would have got into something long term, I wouldn't be on here right now with y'all. My financial situation would be drastically different. So how soon can you invest? If you got a job and they got money for retirement, like retirement seems so far away. Like I had dreams and goals right then. Hey, I'm taking this money and I'm putting it into trying to start a business or trying to do this thing. I wish I just started putting money to the side, then putting it in the market and leaving it alone and watching what would have happened. Because when you're in your 20s, the one thing you got that nobody else has is time. And time is on your side. The next mistake I made is not becoming an owner fast enough. Now, I see a lot of people, right? The cool thing to tell you, not to own, to rent. You don't want the responsibility. You don't want the responsibility, but what you want is the equity, right? And I realized that sooner. One of the good things I did is I did own a home, right? I bought a townhouse at 21 years old. Now that home that I bought for just over $100,000, I think it's either like 108 or 121. When I look back years later telling my daughter who was going into college about, hey, this is what I did in my 20s, and let me go look back at it. That house that was like, under 120,000 was now valued at over 250,000. And his was wild. I told you, as a person in your 20s, the one thing you got is time. When I got the mortgage seemed like it was so far away. I got like a 30-year mortgage, and that seemed so, like I couldn't even imagine that. Not only that, but I was making extra payments to pay the principal down. So by the time I showed my daughter how much that house was, the house had appreciated to $250,000. In addition, it would have totally been paid off. I would have owned it. In addition, I wouldn't have been living there no more. I would have been renting it. So that just would have been money coming to my pocket every single month after month after month, because I would have had an asset. Not just an asset, but a cash producing asset. You are in the best opportunity that you possibly could be in now to start building those assets for the long run. So even though I got that one thing right, I let go of the ownership of it too early. And there are other things that I came across that I should have owned, but I didn't. But I want to make sure, if you didn't think about it now, think about what you can own. Ownership is the key to wealth. The next mistake I made was consuming more than I was creating. Now, I was creating things, right? You can say, hey, like, think about it, I like reading books, but I've only created a few. I've read way more than I've written. Watch shows on TV, but I watched way more shows than I've actually made. I've been on social media, but I've consumed way more social media and content that I've created and put out to the marketplace. Most people in this world are consumers. They consume what the creators put out there. But the people that make the money are not the people that consume, it's the people that create. So how can you right now create, which you're in the best opportunity ever, because what you have is more time than you'll have down the line. There's a stretch that when you first kind of start out in life and you're in your early 20s, where you have more bandwidth, you have more time, you have more opportunity. But as responsibility starts to stack, as you get further into your career, as you get further into just life, right? Less of your time is yours. Now you're spending that time with significant others. Now you're spending that time with your children. Now you're spending that time in different responsibilities that you have until your children become older, until you get later in your career, more further down the line or further up in the corporate ladder, whatever that may be. So now while you have the time, it's up to you to make sure you use it. The last two I have. Number 4, not believing in yourself. And number 5, looking for the shortcut. And I'm gonna break that down. When I talk about not believing in yourself, there were times when I had great ideas, but I didn't move on them fast enough. I told you I wanted to be an entrepreneur, so there were times when I partnered with other people thinking that I needed them. Like I couldn't do the thing alone, like I needed them because I knew what they brought to the table, but still realizing and finding that, I was the one doing all the work, or I was the one bringing all the people, I was the one that was like doing all the things that made the things happen. And it wasn't until that happened repeatedly I said, hey, you know what? Like I actually can do something independently on my own. I don't have to have. Now, if it's strategic, if there's a benefit to it, yes. But if it's not, I don't have to have somebody there to get the thing done. So really just believing in myself, and I want you to believe in yourself right now where you are. And then last but not least, like I mentioned, looking for the shortcut, right? I feel like young people are always looking for the shortcut, and I did the same thing. What's the shortcut way to wealth? What's the shortcut way to riches? What's the shortcut way to investing? What's the shortcut way to real estate? All these things. And wasting time looking for the shortcut year after year actually makes it longer for you to just do the things you need to do. And again, right, I'll wrap with this. The beauty of what you have is time. It feels like it's gonna be a long time to get through the next 10 years, but it is not. It feels like it's gonna be long to get to 20, 30 years down the line, but it is not. So how can you leverage time to then use that to create and build assets, use that to create and build wealth, to use that to create and build the dream life that you've always dreamed of? That's what the game is. Hopefully you learn from this, you can play it better.